Hey, how are you doing? This is Greg Van Kirk, and I just wanted to walk you through the defining our team collaborative conversation tool. So the how might we here is how might we identify and include team members who will help us achieve current and future success. So it's about figuring out who's on your team now, being expansive and inclusive in the way that you approach it, and who might be contributors to your team or part of your team in the future as you grow, scale, as things change. So, um, as always, we got the About This tool. So here we have at the top on the left, About This defining our team tool. Then we have below that in the header, how this defining our team tool works. Excuse me. And the actual tool there to the right, again, made in Google Sheets. And we'll come to that about how you can click on that to access it in Google Sheets, make it editable, change it, what have you. So I'm just going to start by reading the About This Defining Our Team tool. If you look at the top left, we have Changemaking is a team sport. It's best to start out with a small team to keep things simple and manageable, right? By the way, your team could be it could be your group, it could be your family, any group of people working together, right? Um, but you should continually be having conversations about who you might want to include in your efforts in the future. Unfortunately, we often don't recognize or appreciate all the people who might be inspired to contribute to our change-making work. This defining our team tool is designed to help you avoid this tendency and to identify both current and future potential team members. Be expansive in your thinking. So I've broken this down into three separate teams. Your overall change-making team should include three sub-teams, so to speak. They are as follows. The core team. These are team members who are dedicated to your change-making efforts. This is your main team here. As much as possible, this should include people who have very close proximity to and or deep understanding of the context in which you're working. Right? You want people who have localized contextual knowledge for the environment that you're working in, for the products that you're selling, the services that you're offering, what have you. Include community members if you're working on community work here. The extended team. These might be other colleagues, other students, good friends, family members, teachers, and the like. It depends on the context. So these are people with whom you have a relationship, who are interested in your efforts, and who you can call on for support when needed. So this isn't their full-time job, but you can call on them. They might become involved as community representatives, advisors, mentors, coaches, volunteers, and or cheerleaders, for example. They might also join your team in the future. Right? But think of all the different people that you can count on that are part of the core, dedicated, committed team. Probably a lot of people. The network team. These are people with whom you don't currently have a strong relationship, but who you can access and reach out to as needed. So these might include people who provide an essential service, such as lawyers, accountants, or investors or funders, for example. They might also be people who do similar work, but in other contexts, so you can learn from them, create a community of practice. Be creative and seek out people with diversity of perspectives, capabilities, and connections. So, think of this. This can even be the team of your extended team, right? Your network team. So everybody in your network. You always want to be expanding and growing your extended team and your network, so that you're able to call on folks and work with new folks and create new opportunities. How this defining our team tool works. I'm not going to read through all the one, two, three, four there. I'll let you do that. But just let's take a look over at the tool here on the right. So again, we have the defining our team, collaborative change making tool. Again, it's all about conversations, but you can do it on your own. Click here on the tool to access the Google Sheet, make an editable copy. Okay, so first you want to say your team name, put that up top. Might be a temporary name, might be a formal name, an informal name, any size team. Right. And then you just want to go through and work through who's on the core team. You see boxes for each. You can have fewer spaces or more spaces. This is a guide. Who's on your extended team, fill that out, and who's on your network team. All right. So just a great conversation because the more people you have on your team, the more you're going to learn how big your extended and your network team is. And unless you have these conversations, you're not going to know. So after you've gone through this, you've got a now what? So what do we do with this new information, this conversation that we've had? Right. So simple tool. You're just defining three teams, but sparking really helpful conversations and learning about the different relationships that people have and how they might be helpful. So what hats do you wear? 12 application ideas. As always, People are wearing a lot of different hats. I wear a lot of different hats. These tools were developed from wearing a lot of different hats, all of the different hats that you see here, frankly. So you might wear certain ones. There might be others that aren't here. That's fine. These are for any kind of hat you're going to be wearing. Just be creative in how you apply it. So the 12 here I have highlighted. I'm just going to read through briefly. So what if you're a business, right? Social enterprise, business, what have you? One idea is use this when you're starting up and or scaling. Certainly makes sense. Also great for project teams, employee resource groups, and the like, for any sort of team or team of team or project teams. Great to have this conversation. Again, you don't always have to use the tool, but use it as a guide to have a conversation. Life coaches and mentors. Use this to help mentees think more broadly and expansively about who is or who might be on either on their personal or professional team. Educators, you can use this to help student groups get started. This can also help you talk to, support, and advise students about who's on and or who could be on their quote unquote life team when they're struggling, when they're applying for college. Probably, great tool you can think about using for guidance counselors potentially. Right? Consultants, use this with clients when you first start out on a project and or when they want to scale a program or innovation. Great to have a conversation there. It's all about people. Facilitators, based upon the goal of a given project or session, have participants work through this to help figure out who's on and or should be on the team to accomplish the goal. Oftentimes when you're in a workshop, you're facilitating, it's people coming together who have the same kind of interest and want to try to solve a problem together. This is a great tool to use in the beginning there. Learn about each other as well. Students, use this as one of the first tools whenever you're starting a formal or informal team, project team, what have you. This could be everything from student council to community volunteering teams. Back up the top to parents, right? You wouldn't think these would be helpful for parents. They're all helpful potentially for parents. Use this to help figure out when you can call on, who you can call on for your children. Think about the network of support for your kids. This could be during the college application process, for finding a summer job. Assume your immediate family is the core team. Entrepreneurs and innovators, who is, could, and should be on your team. Use this to start out and on a periodic basis to check in. Relationships change, right? So you want to stay on top of this. Nonprofit organizations. This can be especially helpful for identifying outside experts, collaborators, and potential funders. You might want to use this for project, volunteer, et cetera teams, right? Any kind of team. Make sure you prioritize including community members. Big, big point of emphasis there. Communities, like local government, community groups, citizen groups, what have you, use this to help build teams for community improvement projects, especially you want to have those extended teams in the network team. If you're working with limited resources, you're going to be people making contributions like, volunteering. Down below, volunteers. If you're volunteering alone, use this as a guide to help you figure out who's on the team you're supporting. So this would be the organization that you're supporting. Who are they? What do they do? Who does what? For volunteering teams, use this to make sure you're accessing the support of everyone who can help. And the last one, individuals. I say this is all about teams, right, in the descriptions, but any individual can use this. Use this in your own life when you when you move to a new place. Who do you have? Who's on your network for job searching, or just to help you figure out and prioritize the most important relationships in your life. So those are some of the hats. Again, many different hats you might be wearing, but hopefully you find this to be a helpful guide for this defining our team tool. Thank you, and please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions, comments, or would like to collaborate or need some support. All the best.